All right, we'll be back in a minute.
Tony, welcome to go.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I gotta pat you down though, pal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Got anything on you? Anything I should know?
I got nothing.
Anything weird going on?
What?
All right, you go in, Tony.
Good. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tom Kelly of The Tom Kelly Show. Yes, this is not the only time I've gotten on my knees in the back room of a comedy club.
The Knockem Dead Comedy Radio Show is also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair, from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. Give Two Eagles Auto Body a call and please ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527. That's 516-328-2527.
Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony on the Knockem Dead radio show. They're gonna keep knocking them dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, at Knockem Dead Comedy Radio.
Hey, Tony, you're not funny, and you probably shit yourself a lot, and you're no fun to be with, and you don't make that much money, and you're not going anywhere in show business, and I hope you get hit by a bus.
I'm gonna get my sticks. The mic is live and clear for you and all to hear. Knockem dead. Knockem dead. Comedy show.
Okay, here we go. Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome to the Knockem Dade Comedy Show, coming at you live on Gov's Comedy Club Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, the whole works. No matter where you're watching from, we ask that you please share the link on all your socials. Tell everybody you know about all the great shows here on Gov's Comedy Club Podcast. The Knockem Dade Comedy Show, we're coming at you live from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club in legendary Levittown, New York, and we have two legends with us today, speaking of legends. Of course, we have Frank, who's always here, but more importantly, forget about Frank, we have with us today a very special guest, Mr. Tom Chapin, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Chapin is here. In a career that spans 6 decades, 27 albums, and 3 Grammy Awards, Hudson Valley troubadour Tom Chapin has covered an incredible amount of creative ground. In addition to his work as a recording artist, concert performer, storyteller, activist, and spy, he's performed on Broadway and worked extensively in television, radio, and film. Tom will be celebrating his 80th birthday this Saturday, March 8th, at the Town Crier Cafe in Beacon, New York. His longtime bandmates Michael Mark, who turned 75 the day after Tom, and John Colbert, pianist extraordinaire, will share the stage with Tom. Tickets are on sale now online at towncrier.com or by phone, 845-855-1300. That's 845-855-1300. Mr. Tom Chapin, happy birthday to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I'm reminded, people say, how's it feel to be 80? And I asked my mom that when she's gone now, but when she turned 90, I said, how's it feel to be 90? She said, well, I lived those years. That's okay. But you being 63.
Right.
And that's sort of the way I feel. I look at my kids and my grandchildren and go, whoa, how'd they get this old?
It does. I mean, I'm Frank and I are both in our 50s. And it just, in our 50s, I can tell you that it does. It flies right by, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it
does.
Crazy.
And speaking of the Town Crier show, I think there's a good chance that my daughters, Abigail and Lily, will be there. My singing daughters as well.
Very nice.
They're planning to come with their kids and which will make it very special.
Of course, and it should be special. 80 is that's a milestone, and it looks to me like, because you're still out there performing regularly, you look like you're in shape. You don't look 80 to me, so I'm guessing that you're still making a wish and having a ball. That's my guess.
I am. People say you look really good. I said from a distance.
Well, yeah, I noticed that if we zoom in on the camera, we'll get scared. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, I'm still doing it. Folks like me, as one of my songs says, folks like me do not retire. We just reload.
Exactly.
Good. And that's, what am I retired to? You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to retire to play music.
Right, exactly.
I want to retire so I can write my own songs. I'm one of those lucky people who found pretty early what I really wanted to do, and somehow made a living out of it and a career out of it, and I'm still doing that. And I feel blessed.
That was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you, because you've, it's really hard to say that you've. We can't say that you've been that you've made a career out of music, because you've acted, you've been on TV, you've done Broadway, but even the music, you've done the folk, you've done children's music, you've done spoken word that you've won at least one Grammy that I know of for. So how do you decide what the next project is? Is it whatever you feel? Is it somebody offering you money? Is it all the above? I'm curious. All the above.
Early on, I realized that if a door opens, instead of just saying, "No, I don't do that," you take a peek inside.
Sure.
And if it makes it, if it's interesting, like Make-A-Wish, the TV show I had in the 70s.
Right.
I was playing in a folk rock band with my brother Steve called the Chapins, and we were the house band at the bitter end, and we played around the city and stuff. And I remember I get Paul Colby of the gave me this telephone. You know, these people bugging us trying to find a folk singer, and Doris at the door thinks you might be good at this, you know. And you want the number? I said, sure, I'll take the number. And I called him, you know, and then I tried out for it, and I actually the tryout was to sing a song on the camera. So we're in Central Park, and I'm singing "Sweet Baby James."
Oh wow!
For the camera, and lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I get the gig, and my brother Steve goes, "A kids show? You want to be Captain Kangaroo? That's not cool, you know." And it turned out to be the best thing I ever did because college kids watched it, you know.
Right.
Make-A-Wish was a kind of a hip kids show.
It was very psychedelic, kind of at times.
And they had some animation that was like that.
Yes.
Fred McGubgub did the animation, and it was kind of like some of the Beatles stuff. You know?
Yes, Yellow Submarinas, yes. And with a name like
great,
McGubgub, it must be psychedelic.
Yeah, that's right. And so that's been sort of the watchword. You know, I never had a hit record, so you know, I'm not out playing my hit. But I've had an incredibly interesting career. Well, the other thing was I didn't want to be on the road all the time. I had a family, I had a wife, kids who I adore, and I found out that I could play weekends. You know, that
which is very interesting because your brother Harry was the exact opposite, right? Flying to Montreal, flying to Virginia, then flying back to Montreal, right? Crazy
different
stuff.
Personality and a wonderful guy, but he was like racing as if he had short time.
Sure.
And it turns out he did.
Right.
Nobody knew of that. Yeah. But he acted as if I got to do this right now. I have to right now, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I was when I tour with him, you know, I want to get home tonight. Well, we're in Champaign, Urbana. But those days you could get a late night flight. You know, there was a 2 o'clock flight from Chicago. You know, I'm playing in Champaign, Urbana, doing a hunger benefit. Me and Harry. And he goes, I'm gonna drive to Chicago 2.5 hours and catch that. We had done 2 shows already that day, you know, and he's gonna, let's go. And I go, Harry, why don't we just get up in the morning and take the flight? And you know, he goes, no, I'll do it. And I said, okay. So I ended up driving Harry to, you know, he falls asleep over here, and I'm driving him to Chicago.
You gotta stay awake.
You know, at 2 o'clock, you get the 2:30 flight. He's home to cook breakfast for his kids, and I'm dead. You know?
Yeah, right.
I go home and. But that was Harry, you know. So you find a way in your own life to have what your pace is. But as I say, I feel blessed. You know, I'm still doing this. People come to see the shows, and I got a plethora, of lots of music. You know, there's as you said, 27 albums, and there's Harry's songs and my brother Steve's songs, my daughter's songs, and Pete Seeger. You know, there's a whole world of music that has been trailing through this aging body, you know, and mostly I remember the words.
Nice.
That's great. Now, let me ask you. But your birthday is not the 8th, right? Is it the 13th?
The 13th, March 13th, and Michael Marcus is the 14th, and my grandson Miles is going to turn 20 on the 15th.
Wow.
And my son John is going to turn 60 on the 20th.
Wow, busy month.
And my daughter Jessica is going to turn whatever it is on the 17th. So my wife Bonnie had 2 kids when I met her, and both her kids had a birthday in the same week, and so did I. So all of a sudden she had 1 week that was like the death week of birthdays. That was it for the year, you know. So but it's interesting. I'm turning 80. John's turning 60.
Wow.
And Miles is turning 20. He's a freshman at college.
Very nice.
Sophomore in college.
So for whatever reason, I guess, what would that be? So we go back 9 months or 10 months. That would be what, July? So I guess you didn't tour much. I guess you were kind of a lot of people were bored in July.
I don't know you never know how these things work.
Well, my daughter Samantha, she'll be turning 26 on your day. So thank you for letting her have her have share the
Oh,
day with
wow.
you. Thank you for that.
Oh, that's great.
So it's a big day for all of us here. It's
Yeah.
that's a special day for everybody.
I
And
always
happy.
liked the 13th. When I played basketball at SUNY Plattsburgh, I got the number 13. Nobody wanted 13. I said, hey, that's my lucky number.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's been.
There you go.
Very nice. Yeah, 27 albums. That blows me away. And yeah, talking about your band, I'd like to do this now so I don't forget. Let's give them some credit here. Let's mention them for a second. Tell us about them, and you've been with them for a long time, or they've been with you for a long time, right?
Yeah, 88 was the year that I did Family Tree, and that's when I met John Cobert.
Okay.
Wonderful piano player. He was in a band when he was 19 with John Lennon. John Lennon's last band.
Oh, no kidding.
Because he was working in the city with a rock and roll band in the same studio that John Lennon was.
Wow.
So and he tells us a wonderful story about they were going to do a TV show with one of these big all kinds of stars, Tom Jones and Mary Poppins, and John Lennon, and they would do Imagine, and John never remembered the words, so he had a guitar and he had the words like that. So he sat down with John at the piano and this is how I play it, and taught him how to play.
Nice.
Imagine. So he played Imagine, and like 2 weeks later he was killed. It's like,
jeez.
But John also has written Baseball Tonight theme song. He's played on so many studio things, and I met him, and it was just like a magic, And he thinks his fingers are his brain, and he's just amazing player.
That's
and great
great.
singer, great friend, written a lot of songs with me. And then the other guy wrote the theme song you wish he'd written, which is Entertainment Tonight.
Oh, wow.
48 years of that from television. You can make it. You could just live on that.
I was about to ask. I hope he made a good deal and just is enjoying that.
Pretty good, and he's done many things. Wow. He was on Broadway as well, and wonderful singer, great tenor voice, and a bass player, can play anything. And these guys, I learned early on that you find good people and you just stick with them.
Right.
And they understand the kid stuff, they understand the adult stuff. They can play anything, and they're endless fun. So
that's great.
So when I can afford them on the shows, it's a no-brainer. Come on, guys. And they've been crazy enough to follow me for a long time. So.
And has that always been important to you to have? I mean, you hear about it all the time. A lot of bands will say, I can play great with this guy, but behind the scenes, he's the biggest jerk. So is that important to you, or has that been as you get? Yeah.
But music has always been collaborative for me. We started as the Chapin brothers. Right. I was 12, Harry's 14, Steve is 11, and Steve and I were choir boys at a Grace Church, Brooklyn Heights. Harry was not; he was a little older. But we heard a record called "The Weavers" at Carnegie Hall. Seminal record by the Weavers in 1955, I think, when they came off the blacklist, rented Carnegie Hall, and it was a reunion concert, and they recorded it. And that record, you're looking back, changed American music because Peter, Paul, and Mary, the Kingston Trio,
right,
Limelight, all the folk groups copped that record and did their own thing. And of course Pete Seeger also was the first traveling folk singer in America. He invented that too.
Right. Yeah.
So we listened to that record all summer long. And the summer, Harry says we could do that, and he got a banjo. I got a guitar, and Steve got first a 10-string ukulele called Teeplee, and then moved over to bass. But we were already musicians. Our dad was a jazz drummer,
right?
And his mom put us in music school in the village, Greenwich House Music School. So I took clarinet for 5 years, and Harry took trumpet, and Steve took piano. Still plays piano.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so that changed our world, and so it's very real to me to writing songs is more fun with somebody than alone. You have to leave your ego at the door,
Which is a good thing.
But that's been a wonderful kind of run for me. And so early on, you realize that you want to be with guys who who don't make it a drag. You know,
Sure.
It's not going to last if it's a drag. And both these guys are just the best. And I get the chance now to sing with my daughters. You know, we've been doing these Harry Chapin shows on Long Island. We did it in Patchogue a couple times, but we do about, I don't know, 8 or 10 of those a year with my brother Steve and the Harry Band, Big John Wallace doing the high part in Taxi.
Yeah.
Baby, so high,
Right.
He can still hit those notes?
A little bit. I never quite. We used to have a great falsetto, but that's kind of died. But then, and he also. So we've been doing those shows with Harry's daughter Jen as well.
Right.
My daughters, of course, are the Chapin sisters. Those of you listening should just Google the Chapin sisters. You'll hear some magical voices and harmonies. They're just great.
And we're talking about the Chapin family, right? Isn't that what you call the show, the Chapin family? Yeah.
Chapin family, and it's called the one we're doing now is Harry Chapin Greatest Stories Live.
Right.
And so we do Taxi and Cats in the Cradle and The Circle and Mr. Tanner and you know all those great story songs of Harry's with a cello too. Here we have this wonderful cellist now.
Right.
And it's really great to sing those songs with the full complement of voices and
sure
and stuff, you know.
Mr. Tanner, I think.
Mail Order Annie.
Oh yeah, Mr. Tanner, I think is one of my favorites. We've had Jen on the show. We've even had Jason here on the show as well. Now, do you, because Jen is a singer, so you get to perform with her? Do you like her better than Jason because of that?
Of course.
Nice.
Jason's hard to dislike. You know, Jason's a pretty remarkable guy, and Jen is the best. She's the goat. You know, she's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
She was when my brother James started out being the chairman of the board of Why Hunger. You know, that organization that Harry founded.
Right. Yeah.
And when he stepped down, who stepped in was Jen, and she's just remarkable. She's a teacher. Because her husband's a jazz bass player,
right?
So somebody had to get a job, but she's so knowledgeable and such a great musician and just a great person.
Yeah, you guys have all you guys have definitely done a nice job passing the torch, not just musically. You know, you really, Jason is he does some wonderful things, and it actually is a nice segue to another question I had, because you guys. As far as I know, starting with the three of you as the brothers, but even, you know, through Harry's career and even all you guys have always had a good sense of humor. We were teasing Jason. We had a good rapport when he was on, which is why I knew I could get away with asking that question. So I knew,
yeah,
because you guys all do have a big sense of humor. You guys always work that humor into your shows. You know, Harry Chapin Greatest Stories, that live album, Harry Chapin Greatest Stories, you hear a lot of the comedy in that.
Sure.
So was that, like, where do the comedy chops come from? You guys had good timing with each other. Like, was that always in the house too? And was that a conscious decision to work that into your acts?
Well, my wife always says, "You guys talk too much. Just sing the songs."
Well, we have 90 minutes to kill, so talk all you want.
Yeah, so, you know, that's the deal. And you know, the people who live with us and hear this stuff, they go, hey. It's really the joy of performing, I think. You know.
Yeah.
We learned early on that if we're having fun, they're going to have fun, and the audience is part of it. I mean, really, it's not like shh, we're
right
performing now. That's the classical deal, you know.
Yes,
and we're not good enough to do that. We're not Pavarotti, you know. But what we can do is tell stories, and as I've gotten older, that's been you know, I have this career sort of. In the 90s, I was doing my family music and just full time. It was unbelievable. But then a couple of the things happened, 9/11, various things happened, and generations got away from knowing who Tom Chapin was as the family artist. But I'm an elderly folkie, you know. I got a lot of stories, a lot of great songs. And so an evening with us is storytelling and fun. And you're going to do probably a little singing, and you're going to be a part of it.
Nice.
As opposed to...
Right.
I mean,
it's a little interesting always to go to like Canada, and they're so polite. You go, oh, Are we doing something wrong here? And,
Yeah, especially growing up in Brooklyn and New York. Yeah, we're not used to polite audiences. Yeah,
Tony, real quick.
Yeah.
One of the comments coming in is asking if Tom's volume can come up a little bit.
Turn my volume up.
Yeah, I don't know, Tony. Can you do it on that end? Or?
No,
I can do it. I can just turn this up a little bit. Let me see.
Okay.
Gain. All right, gain up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I noticed it. Wow, that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, because
Thank you.
songs like 30,000 Pounds of Banana and Six String Orchestra, and then even what is it? Go Away, Sarah Palin. I mean, this is all great stuff.
Yeah. that was. There are certain songs that have short shelf lives, and that's one of them.
Yeah, but that's that's pretty memorable and that's pretty funny. Well, and I'm sorry, I don't care what side you're on politically. That's just a funny song right there.
We 30,000 Pounds of Banana is an interesting one because Harry loved to do it, but it turns out, and we got letters from the family of the guy. It's a true story.
Wow.
And the family said, this is kind of hurtful because he was a hero to us.
Right.
He could have jumped and just let the truck go. He's going down that huge hill.
Yeah.
And he rode it the whole way so that the world didn't get killed, but he did.
Wow.
And so we stopped doing it. I said, it's a great kind of bit, but when and the girls and the moral core of us, Steve and I was like, okay, we'll do it, and he said, no, Dad, you got to respect the family,
Wow.
So my kids and Jen all say, let's respect what they say, because they lived it,
That's something I never knew that was even a true story. I just thought it was a song and the name was made up. I had no idea.
Yeah, there was the guy, and I think Harry read it in the paper, and said, "Well, it's an interesting story." And there was Harry was doing poetry, and when he got back into stuff, and there was Yevtushenko was a Russian poet who was very hot for a little while, and Harry read it, and he read me this poem, and it's sort of like the same thing. I think that's where I got the idea about a stewardess who gets. The door blows off. She gets pulled out. She's falling 30,000 feet. And what she's thinking and what she's doing, and I think that Harry said, "But this is amazing." And I think that's where he got the idea when he saw this.
Right.
He could do this with this guy.
Yeah.
And what's great about that song is it speeds up. Oh wait, and that comes. So it illustrates without you even knowing it what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
But as I say, it's one of those things where you say, I wrote a song called "Two Kinds of Seagulls" with my friend John Forster, and it's really a hopelessly now binary. It's two kinds of seagulls, he goes and she goes. Basically, that's all there is. And for a lot of people, that's so that became as a kid's song. So you say, okay, as Tom Paxton said, short shelf life.
Right.
And that's the same thing with that song with the 30,000 Pounds of Bananas.
Right.
It's just, and I'll play it for you, but I'm not. You should check it out. It's a really interesting song, but I'm not going to do it for an audience when we're in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Right.
Wow.
Well, I had no idea such a fun song would turn into such a big, interesting conversation. That's crazy. Now, all right, so we're hanging out with Tom Chapin today. The big 80th concert celebration is this Saturday at the Town Crier Cafe in Beacon, New York.
What a great venue that is.
Yeah,
I love that place. It's Phil Sagana is turning 80 this year too. A couple of months after me.
Okay.
And he's had in various places in the Hudson Valley, way up north, and this is the third one. It's a really good restaurant, and it holds about, you can hold either 100 or 300 depending on where it opens the back. And it's right in the main street of Beacon, which is a burgeoning town right now.
Oh yeah, is that close to where you are?
It's about 45 minutes.
Oh,
up
not bad
north.
at all. Okay,
You
nice.
know, it's just straight up the Hudson. But those Hudson River towns, Hudson and Beacon and Kingston, especially during COVID, got a lot of New Yorkers who
Yeah, right.
who moved out so they're really doing. It's wonderful to watch them there. And it's a great place to visit. There's a terrific music store there by David Burns and his son Jake.
Oh, no kidding.
Jake's music, and those guys were great friends of Pete Seeger, who used to come down all the time.
That's great.
And they have some of the best acoustic guitars now in the New York area. It's a really great place. So my wife and I will, once a month or so, just, hey, what do you want to do? Let's go have lunch in Beacon.
Yeah,
just drive
sure.
up the Hudson.
That's
and,
great.
And people who live in New York City jump on the train. It goes right there.
It is. It's beautiful up there. It really is.
There's Cold Spring, and then there's Beacon. And Beacon has a museum there called the Dia, which is a modern art thing. Which also
okay.
Changed the town.
Oh, that's cool.
I get paid by the local people to
the Beacon Chamber of Commerce. Yeah.
Tom Chapin says.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Big,
Tom who?
Big poster of you there. All right, so I want to mention this new CD that's coming out. Sundance Music will release.
Oh man, okay, you ready for this, guys?
Is it delayed?
Nice.
Oh, very nice.
Look who this guy is. Is he a little closer? How about that?
That's who when I first met you years ago.
Yeah.
That's Papa Tom in 1975, 74.
Wow.
Here's me at Stonehenge in 72, I think, doing my TV show called Make a Wish.
Right. And yeah, that's the CD that's coming out.
It's coming out.
Go ahead.
So
sorry.
here's the story.
Yes.
I had a TV show called Make a Wish.
Right.
We're the house band of I mentioned this earlier at the bitter end, and Paul Colby, who owned it for a year, and the house band is myself, my brother Steve, Dougie Walker, who later played with Harry for a while,
right,
and Phil Forbes, the drummer, and we were one of the first sort of folk rock bands, and the only gigs we got the whole year was to play at the bitter end. So every third act, if you went to see somebody, the Chapins would open for them. The Chapins, and we got a wonderful review called by Rock Magazine that said the best band I've seen this year. Okay, so Paul Colby's managing us. End of the year, we realized we haven't played any place, but we haven't got a record contract. So we go to see our lawyer, Monty Morris, up in 52nd Street or something, and he says, "Well, what do you want to do with this?" And the band all says, "We got to do something different." Okay, so we're going to fire Paul. Is that right? Okay. So you want me to send him a letter? The lawyer says. I said, "Okay." And then I start to go. We were letting leave. I said, "Wait a minute, we're not going to tell him. He's going to get in the mail this." And the rest of the band says, "I don't want to tell him. I don't want to tell him." I says, "Okay, I'll do it." So I get subway. I get off in West 4th Street. I go to the bitter end. There's Paul. "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Paul, tell you bad news, and we're gonna let you go." "But I'm a good manager." I said, "I know you are, but we're gonna try something different." And that's when we have this sort of thing, and then we shook hands, and I walk out the door, and he goes, "Wait a minute, I got this telephone number here. There's this kids' TV show that's been bugging us. They asked John Bender, he turned it down. They're asking me if they know a folk singer." And Doris at the door says, "I think Tom would be good at this." So he said, "You want this number?" I said, "Sure." So I took the number, and I got the show.
That's cool.
And every time I saw Paul Colby again, I mean, Harry made more, and I got my brother Harry to write the songs because I was not writing music at that point. I didn't think myself, I was writing, but I didn't have confidence, And so I got Harry, and he made more money writing the songs, 2 songs per show, than I did as the host of the show.
Wow.
But we filmed the whole show. Anyway, every time I saw Paul Colby again, I go to the bitter end. He goes, "Hey, Tom, you owe me a Cadillac."
Yeah.
And I probably owed him something, but I was like, hey, I didn't, it was one of those things that happened. So it won the Emmy and a Peabody. It ran for 5 years, wow. Saturday and Sunday mornings. And right. I suddenly had a career because college kids watched it. It was on 11:30, right before NCAA football or on Saturday or NFL football on Sunday, depending where you were. And so that was my TV show. So make a long story short, we finished the show. It won the Peabody the first year, and the fifth year we filmed it in '75, and it was all up and down the 13 colonies. Went to Boston, went to Williamsburg, went to Washington, and did all this stuff. It was like being a super tourist. It was just great for me.
Yeah, right.
And then we won the Emmy, and they say, we won the Emmy, we're going to take it off because we're not going to win it again. Okay, so 5 years and ended in '76. I just did the best of Make-A-Wish. I put the best 26 songs, me and a guitar, and Steve, and just but basically a guitar and a couple of guitars, and recorded it and totally forgot about it.
Wow.
And so about 4 years ago, I find a cassette of it. And there's no masters left. I don't know where they are.
Oh, wow.
But I played a cassette and I said, this is really good, And I mean, the TV show started with a theme song that goes, this is for the old people listening. Make a wish, have a ball, dream a dream, be it all if you want it. You can get it, but to get it, you gotta want it. Anything you want to try, just let go, fly home. I go up in the air, and my feet would go up. And
right, you would see your feet go up in front of the camera, yeah.
And then it would go into animation and stuff. Right. But it's basically a word game. I made a wish. The word was bull. I made a wish a bull to be. Imagine all the possibilities. If you were a bull, you could be a bullfrog. You could be a bullfighter. A bull is not a ring, but there is a bull ring. Blah, 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 blah. Like that. It's really fast, really erudite.
And don't be a bully.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. And what happened was, it was done by ABC News, and they never got the rights to all this crazy footage they did. They just showed it.
Oh, wow.
So, after the thing ends, a year later, I go to, now it's owned by Disney. ABC is owned by Disney. I go and say, I'd like to get the best of Make-A-Wish. I could sell a lot of them at my shows. And they said, we can't do it. We don't have the rights. So it's totally stuck in lawyer land,
Yeah,
anyway,
sure.
Make a long story short, we decided, I took that, and who's calling here? Nobody. I took the cassette to John Guth and said, hey, can you fix this up? And he does.
Wow.
4 years ago. And then this year we said, I listened to it. I said, it's really good. These are great songs. And my voice is high and it's really cool. And so I send it back to him. And we call John and he says, he listened to it. He said, the echo is pretty heavy on this, but I got the new technology. I said, what's the new technology? It's what the Beatles used. It's not AI. You can take the voice off. He said, this is John Guth, who lives up here. He said, I just did a record with Tony Danza. And he's standing doing, all these Frank Sinatra songs. And there's a piano right there. And he's standing right in front of the piano. His voice is all over the piano. Piano's all over his voice. And so I got this technology, and I could just separate it. It's the most amazing thing. And you know what? I'm going to do that with your record. And so he did, because the voice was kind of tucked into the, into the thing. And it sounds great.
Wow.
So it's like, I'm so glad we didn't put it out 4 years ago,
Yeah, sure.
And so we're putting this out. I mean, it's got 26 songs, and it starts with Make-A-Wish, and there's, all these different words, dog, shadow. And guess what the last one is?
Circle. Yep.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Because, that's the only one that Harry actually recorded. One other one, which was, which one was it? Not fan, but song. I have been a song man for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It's one of his records. But otherwise, everything else is just, they're just been out there in the ether.
So these are the songs that Harry wrote, for the show. So this is like unreleased Harry stuff.
I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, but the first year we do it. We had rented the Village Gate. We're away from Paul Colby, so we went across the street. We rented the Village Gate. The Chapins did, and our opening act was Harry.
Oh wow!
And he does a whole week by himself singing, Taxi and some of these songs solo, and it doesn't go well.
Right.
Anybody else would say, okay, it's not working. He says, I need a band. So he calls John Wallace. He puts an ad in the Village Voice, gets a cellist, and he finds a singer picking guitar guy for the next 3 weeks. Next week they just rehearse at my mom's house in Brooklyn, and Steve and I are there too. We're helping him to put it together. He comes back, opens for us. By the end of the summer, people are coming to see him. He gets an incredible review in the New York Times by Robert Shelton, the one who made Bob Dylan,
Right.
Way back when.
Yeah.
And he gets this great review so that fall, Harry gets, and I'm still also doing Make-A-Wish that same summer, during the day, and because we did it in New York, and he's writing the songs the night before, and so the next year, Harry's now had Taxi, so everybody knows who Harry is. He's touring like crazy. He has to come up with 26 songs for me because I'm going to England, right, to do Make-A-Wish in England,
Right.
in the summer, June. So I'm calling him and saying, so he's evidently, according to Jen and to Jason and the kids, he would sit there with Sandy and she would write some little things. He'd write things. And anyway, the day I'm leaving, he gives me a cassette. And so I'm sitting in the plane, listening to this, and I'm going, oh man. Because what he had done was he had all these lyrics and he sat there and just invented something on the spot, sort of half-assed it on the spot. And I'm saying, wait a minute, this is my ass on national television. So I learned how to write songs by fixing these songs, 26 songs. Now, about 8 or 10 of them were just all there.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, I kept changing, and I realized I can do this. And that was my songwriting workshop. And it happened every year from then on. Wow. And that's when I got confident about writing songs. I've been writing ever since. But that Make-A-Wish, so these songs are Harry songs, but filtered through my arrangements and some of I wrote whole new tunes for, whatever it was. But they're great. They're really strong. And I just gave it to, because we just got this the day before yesterday.
Wow.
It came in. And I called and I gave it to, I have these two little boys, grandsons. Oliver is just turned 4 and Arthur is 3.5.
Nice.
But Oliver has Claudia at my office gave him a CD player with a little thing, and he has been playing all my records.
Wow.
He's like right at the right age, all my kids' records. And so I gave him this, and Lily texted me a picture of him, doing the with his father's working on this computer, and he's sitting there with this little thing playing. And so what I loved about it was, and then Lily said, hey, Dad, these are really good. I didn't get a chance to listen to them before.
Wow.
So it's been nice to watch. And I said, who's that, Oliver? I don't know. That's me. Papa Tom? That's Papa Tom. That's what Papa Tom looked like in 1976.
Right.
So I don't know. I think just the cover alone is going to sell some at the thing.
Right.
But doing a CD these days is a leap of faith. It's always been a leap of faith, but right now it is, because if your car doesn't have a CD player, when are you going to listen to this thing? And but there it is. You can always download stuff. And
yeah. That's amazing. That's quite a story. How it was just gone for all these years, and you found the cassette, and it's stuff
it's I'm saying, is this worth doing? I said, I'm turning 80. I can do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
I'm gonna put it out and see what happens. I mean, who knows? We're doing, what do we do, 500 of these or something.
And where can they find it? On your website or?
On my website, and if you come to any of the concerts from now on, I'll have a little box of these. We'll see. The first time we're doing it is at the Town Crier on March 8th. That's when we'll have them for the first time.
There you go.
Can I say something quick?
No, sure.
Tom, I'm sorry. Your assistant texted me, wants to know if your external mic is connected and/or selected. We tried this. I told you we tried before the show.
Let's see again.
Because you asked me about your guitar.
Yes, Yeti stereo is connected.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
Okay, I told him we tried a few things, but
I think it sounds fine. And yeah, speaking of the guitar, should we're about halfway through. Maybe you want to throw a tune on?
Sure. Let's do let me see. See if I got a bow here. Here's a brand new song.
Nice.
That, my friend My friend John Forstner we've not recorded it. I'm not sure we can, and you'll see why in a minute. But it's
so this is an exclusive.
Exclusive, and I was choir boy, as I said, and John Forster, who I've written a lot of great songs with, wonderful writer. I brought to him and he said, I'm trying to do this song about hymns, like the human hymnal, like songs that are not religious but spiritual, And he said, what is a hymn? And we started talking about that. And this is what we came up with. There are songs that come and go. There are songs I barely know. The songs I know and love feel like hymns. Motown hit, sing along, a lullaby, a Beatles song. This is the hymn book in my head. I pick a hymn, she do run, run, and when I'm scared to carry on, I belt it out to drive away the dread. These are my hymns, la 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 la, hymns, sha na 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 na. I sing 'em when I'm happy, sing 'em when I'm blue, relaxing in my living room or staring down the face of doom. Bop, bop, a loo, bop, a loo, bamboo. These are my hymns. Silent night, stormy weather in my life come together. I know I'm of a certain age, though your book may not have this page. These are the hymns I carry in my heart. Summertime, my funny Valentine. I'll sing lead and we won't need a chart to sing these hymns. La 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 la, hymns, sha na 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 na. Sing 'em when I'm happy, sing 'em when I'm blue. Messing around my living room or staring down the face of doom. Cats in the cradle and the silver spoon. These are my hymns. Na 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 na. La la la. La 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 la. E-I-E-I-O. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Sha-na-na-na-na. We sing 'em when we celebrate, sing 'em when we grieve. Songs so right that ring so true, we touch the deepest part of you. Ah, 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 na 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 na, na 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 na. This land is your land, like a rolling stone. Where have all the flowers gone? Deep in my heart, and I do believe. Bop-a-loo, bop-a-lop-bam-boo. These are my hymns. These are my hymns.
That was great. I really enjoyed that.
Love
That
it.
was fun. Yeah, that was great. Very nice.
As I say, I'm not sure if we can record it.
Well, it should
There's
be.
18 There's 18 songs in there that I don't own.
Wow. Very nice. We're hanging out with Tom Chapin. Let me see. There are some comments coming in on the YouTube feed. A gentleman named Scott, who is turning 79. First of all, he says you look great for 80. He wants to know what your secret is. But he also says Cats in the Cradle was his father's favorite song. And Carol Miner down in Texas, she says her first concert as a kid was Harry Chapin, Pete Seeger, and Tom Chapin at Hofstra. And so that was in the
Yeah.
70s. And Ann, who's watching from California, she said she loved that song and she thanks you for it. So
Great.
yeah, very nice. That was
For
really
those
great.
of us who don't know where the next paycheck's coming from, I think that keeps you young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Active anyway.
Is
I'll
that
tell you too. One of my first concerts was you, Harry, and Pete Seeger at Huntington High School.
Yes, that's the one I remember. Yeah.
And
At that concert, Pete said something that stuck with me and Harry as well. There was this high school kid who had to do paper, for the high school paper because Pete Seeger was there, and then, so he comes in and he, Mr. Seeger, can I ask you a question? Yes. You've done all these concerts for various causes. Has it ever made a difference? And Pete
Wow.
Pete looks at him and goes, I don't know, but I do know I met the good people with live hearts, live eyes, live minds.
That's it.
The best.
wow?
Yeah.
Now think about that for a minute. Not about me. It's not about what I've done, this wonderful thing. It's about what that's done for me and being part of part of the world, connecting with. It was just, and Harry quoted that a bunch, and I did too. It was just like, ooh, that's the perfect answer. This
Absolutely.
kid being sort of, asking this question, and it was wonderful. So I remember. I also remember the concert. It was just, those concerts with Pete. I have a picture of it. One of them here. Hey, I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
I had a picture of that concert, right?
What I remembered the most was at one point, I believe you played Mail Order Annie for Harry to sing, and he just stood without a mic
Yeah.
in front of the theater and just bolted it, and you didn't need a mic.
Wow.
That's it. Yep.
There's Pete playing a recorder, and Harry and me.
Yep.
Nice.
That's that very concert. It's a picture by Ruth Burnell, who was around a lot, taking good pictures those days. I'll have to hang that up when I finish.
and you're right, and you guys are still doing it, right? You guys still have the long commitment to fighting hunger, partnering with Foreground to host a food drive at the concert on Saturday. Fairground, also based in Beacon, is a woman-run food justice anti-hunger organization dedicated to nourishing the community by operating free marketplace, community fridges, tiny food pantries, and other programs to distribute fresh and prepared foods. I have to say, first of all, I applaud you guys because, you guys are known for always doing, things like that. But do you get amazed after all these years? I mean, you just saw that photo from the 70s, and here we are in 2025. Are you amazed that hunger is still even an issue here in the United States at this day and age?
Well, just listen to the rhetoric that's coming out of Washington now. It's not about we, it's about me.
Yeah.
And the reality is that the world works best when it's we, rather than just me. I mean, I whatever political persuasion you are, the rhetoric, and that's the bottom line. If people like Pete Seeger and like my brother and we follow in those footsteps, you learn that we can do a little toward the light, help our neighbors, help. If we can do that, why not? What's the downside here? Come on,
right?
So
right.
So I feel like it's the same thing what Pete says. We're no heroes here. It's a sensible thing to do. It's the smart, the sensible, and it makes you feel better. And your kids, you look at your kids and you say, show them, and just by showing,
right.
And I no proselytizing here. Just look at what's supposed to be, and you work toward that.
Yep.
Toward the light. That's all.
Absolutely right.
You
Well
know
said.
what? Follow the light.
Right.
There you go.
When you're lonely and lost, when out in the darkness you're tumbled and tossed, follow the light. Wherever you may be, follow the light home with me.
Nice. Yep. Speaking of Pete Seeger, did you see the Dylan movie?
I did.
What'd you think?
I know. Ed Norton did great.
That's exactly why I asked. I thought Norton nailed it, completely nailed it. Yep.
Absolutely. And, I know some about this because I mentioned David Burns up in Beacon David Burns lent him a guitar. He came up there and talked to David Burns about how to play the parts, because David Burns was in a band called The Work of the Weavers, which was a four group doing the Weavers arrangements, and Pete taught him how to play the banjo parts. This is David Burns, who has the store. He and the son have the store in Beacon. So David was telling me a story what a great guy he was, Ed Norton. And he wrote after he saw the movie. David wrote him, texted him and said, "You did great. I thought it was just terrific. The Wimmer West stuff and the whole." And Ed Norton wrote back about it was the high point of his life to play Pete. He says people need to know about this guy.
Yeah, absolutely
about what we're doing. And so I just loved it. And the whole thing, it was a really good ride. Yeah, I mean, it was. I thought they did a great job. I could see it again. It would be fun. Also, John Cobert's good friend taught Timothy Chalamet how to play guitar. Another good friend how to play the harmonica. So we know this because it's all New York based. These guys who knew how to do this stuff. So we heard all this before it happened. We knew it was going to happen. And Timothy Chalamet did a great job playing and singing that stuff.
Absolutely,
I enjoyed it. I just watched it last night. Actually, at PBS had the Martin Scorsese film, No Direction Home.
Oh, right.
Part 1 and Part 2 on PBS, and we ended up watching it. It was watching the real Dylan. It was really fast. From the early Dylan until '66.
Was that before you guys hit the scene, or were you around for any of that? Dylan and Joni Mitchell and Baez.
We didn't. I mean, I met him once, but we didn't know him. I met Joan Baez several times now because of various festivals and places and stuff. Judy Collins had a birthday in the city last year, and who was there but Joan Baez, and so it was nice to see. Nice. But we were not involved with that. We were early on. We were thought of as like the Kingston Trio. We were not really folkies.
Right.
I had a TV show. You have a TV show? He's not. They were we used to call them the folk Nazis. Where Boston's very full of them. The idea of this. We listen to the New Lost City Ramblers, who play exactly like the old guys did.
Right.
And if you write new songs, that's not folk.
Right.
Pete Seeger, you say, call himself. He's not really a folk singer. He's because his he said I'm a singer. I sing folk songs, but I'm not. We're the first generation probably that really didn't learn from their grandparents or from books, but we learned from or from the radio. But we learned from suddenly we could learn from other things from media rather than your uncle. Right. Your uncle Jed, who was he plays in the South. So right. But we're steeped in the folk tradition, I mean, Harry stuff is. I remember talking. I was doing a show out in Oregon and a festival, and the Limelighters were there, and only one of them there was still the Limelighters, and that was Alex Haslev, the great banjo player, the Limelighters. Right. And he talked to me. He says, "It's amazing your brother had these hits, because Cats in the Cradle and Taxi, they're folk songs."
Oh, sure.
Songs.
Yeah.
They're not pop songs,
Right.
And I said, yeah, that's the magic of them, that they are, and so that's what we were steeped in, as I said, we started with that, and then, and you write all kinds of things, but I always loved that, it's amazing you got on the radio.
Right.
And Taxi was 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
I think the reason he got that on was because American, the American Pie had been on before,
Right.
Yeah, and then just before, maybe a year or two before that, was Hey Jude, right? I mean, it's the Beatles. Yeah. They can do anything, but still, I think that still kind of set that up.
Harry used to say, yeah, this is DJs like me because they can go to the bathroom during the song.
That's great.
That's very funny. Speaking of movies, I know you had a little bit of a connection with Christopher Reeve. What'd you think of that? What'd you think of that documentary?
Well, it's heartbreaking, you
All
know.
true. Yeah.
Uh, we met him, you know, and met and Dana, Claudia at my office got a phone call from Christopher Reeve's mother, who lives in I was going to play in Princeton, New Jersey, and she calls me up and says, "I think I got a call. I think it's his mother. She says she is." And says that Christopher and Dana want to come because their favorite song is "This Pretty Planet." You know, this the song that probably going to be on my tombstone. It's a song that on the first family recording John Forsythe wrote. It's around for the round Earth, and it did go around the Earth because it's one of the songs used to wake up the astronauts on the Discovery 7 space shuttle. That was the last one that John Glenn was on. They sort of a publicity thing. They asked every one of the crew members to pick a song, and the pilot's wife had this Tom Chapin CD or cassette in her van. She said, "You got to do This Pretty Planet," which I sang on that first CD with Judy Collins. It's around for the round. This pretty planet spinning through space. You're a garden, you're a harbor, you're a holy place. Go, sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around all through the night. Sing till the morning light, and that whole thing is around. So you start them in different places. So we had a kids chorus, and I had the temerity to call up Judy Collins' office. I opened for her a couple of times, and she was a friend of Harry's, and said, you know, and I sent him a tape of 3 songs from the album, because the album we just did on a spec myself. And about a week later, I get a call from the office, Judy's office. I was thinking, okay, that's not going to happen. And then, hello, this is Phoebe from Judy Collins' office. She wants to know when the recording session is.
Nice.
Now, you know. And so she sang 3 songs on it with me, and it was just great. And then and made it easy. A&M picked it up, and all of a sudden, I was on the same label as Raffi and Sharon Nelson Brown, the Canadian singer-songwriters.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly I had this other career of playing for, that was 1988. And, but this song, especially during COVID, I began to realize how many music teachers in schools are using it. And you know, it's about Earth and Earth Day and all that, you know, it's really just and it's around. And so there are so many, Claudia started finding these, the poor music teachers had to do Zooms with their students, and something they could sing together. And so there's maybe, I don't know, there's hundreds at least of this song by different music teachers. Wow. And it's all up on YouTube. If you just Google This Pretty Planet, and you'll find all these teachers using it, which is wonderful.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's better than you write a kid's song and teachers are spreading it across the world, you know?
Right.
And so you know, Harry has Cats in the Cradle. I got This This Pretty Planet, a whole other generation, but they're going to grow up, you know?
Right.
and
With
they
a nice positive message. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Very cool. Very lucky. As you say, you feel blessed sometimes where you just because you don't know, you know, it's like with this thing, I'm going to do this. Who knows what happens? Who knows what hit it? Maybe somebody will like one of the songs, you know, and that happens again and again. Somebody says, oh yeah, that song meant a lot to me because of so-and-so, you know?
Right.
And that's the best, you know, because it's like your kids, you sort of, you know, you rear it, you make it, and let it fly and see where it goes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's out of your hands, man, you know.
And I know another sticking with schools. I know you know, keeping arts and music in the public schools. I know that's still something that's important to you as well.
Well, when I was in grammar school, they had music, you know, and Brooklyn Heights, and it's huge, you know, it really is. Being a teacher is a very tough gig.
Absolutely right.
And how important and how undervalued, financially and emotionally. It's really hard. And I know that for me, the stuff that was made school fun is our weapons for the teacher. They are their utensils. And if you take all those things away, it really makes it hard.
Right.
Why are we making school drudgery when you can do it with music and dance and art?
Right.
Which kids, because the whole idea is to go, what? I call it with this kid's song, getting through the neck of a bottle. With the adult song, Bob Dylan this last night, hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. Well, I don't know what that means. You have no idea. The later stuff is all that's very adult poetry,
Right.
But we had to write a song, we wanted to write a song about recycling. Instead of say, you should recycle. No,
Right.
we said, never say you should. Okay, what do you do? A stegosaurus in the forest, munching on some hay, lay down and snooze in a bed of ooze and sadly passed away. Her body changed and rearranged as she sank beneath the soil. And over time she turned to slime and then she turned to oil. So she disappears for a jillion years till finally she is found by a guy named Bill with an oil drill who sucks her from the ground. Bill pipes that poor old dinosaur to an oil refinery where they bubble and boil and change that oil into stuff for you and me. REC. RICLE. That's the way it's supposed to be. The earth recycles, and so do we. RECYCLE. So you're in,
That's
We're talking
great.
about dinosaurs. We're talking about what's happening. Oh, and then this chorus comes. Then so that's the whole trick with a kid's song.
Right.
Is got to be clear. Doesn't have to be stupid. Doesn't have to be silly. It doesn't have to be
Catchy is the word we're looking for.
catchy, but it can really be full of information.
Right.
Because the whole idea for me was when we started the kids stuff is, Mike, the young stuff, Raffi and even Pete Seeger's Birds and Beasts and Little Fishes, that's for 3-year-olds, just language is just starting. But my kids were 8 and 6 when I started writing kids stuff. And I said, man, there's not a lot for this age who understand humor. They don't want little kids and stuff anymore, but they're not ready for rebellion and love songs on the radio.
Right.
They kept trying to push them down there. So 4 to 10, and so we said, let's write some great songs for this age. And because parents have to buy the tapes and play them over and over and over again. So the watchword was kid friendly, adult safe. And that's what's happened. I mean, I get the highest praise is parents say, Tom, your tapes are the tapes we played on long car trips. Because we had to play it 6 times on the car trip, And so you try to write songs that are really, really fun but yet are articulate and, have something to say in a way. Relationship songs, rounds. It's also, you can use any kind of music. You can have a salsa next to a rock and roll next to a classical.
Right.
Don't make me go to school today. Oh, Mom, don't make me go to school. Take Swan Lake and write songs to it.
Right. It's a good idea.
That's great.
Very nice. Looking at the comments on YouTube, again, Scott says, Tom is a beautiful soul. Very nice. Yeah, that's nice of him to say.
Tell my wife that, please.
Yeah, right. But it's true. Frank and I went to Hicksville High School, which is where Billy Joel went. We actually had the same music teacher that he had, and Frank and I still and plenty of friends that we grew up with. We still talk. We still refer to that teacher. A good teacher and good lessons like your music. That stuff does stick with you. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So and it's not easy. Everything you just said about crafting a good song, of course, you want the parents to enjoy it too, so they're not going crazy. I can't tell you, I still can't listen to Blues Clues because it made me nuts when my kids were little. So so what you're talking about is, it's so much harder, than anyone would think It is, and but yet so important,
People ask me, but what's the difference between a kid's song and an adult song? And I said the craft is the same. It's just with a kid's song, you have to be clear.
Okay. Oh, that's
You
interesting.
have to be clear enough so they understand it.
Sure.
But it doesn't have to be stupid. This is my the first album was done with almost totally one song with Michael Mark, but mostly with John Forster, and we kind of invented the kids thing together. And John Forster is this amazing writer and taught me so much. And he said, "Don't take the pen away from the paper too soon, because I'm a folkie, So I get a song half finished. Let me sing this half finished song." Harry would do that all the time. But John wrote for, grew up writing for Broadway and the theater and cabaret, where it's not his to change. You would finish it first,
right?
And so that got me really working on that thing of just make sure every little thing is there when you do it, and that changed and informed my writing so much more. And we just did a thing which won't be out for a little while, but it's a theater piece for a full orchestra and three actors.
Oh wow!
And it was inspired by, wait for it, Dr. Ruth Westheimer.
Oh, so we're getting something about sex.
No, actually it's not. It's about her grandparenting. She wrote some books about grandparenting.
Oh, no kidding. See, who knew? I didn't even know that.
And I met her on, I got a gig to go to Europe on the QE2 boat, and they paid for the family to go. And who else was on the other star on the boat was Dr. Ruth.
Wow.
They always have somebody there to give things, right? So I met her, and she came to one of my shows and loved it. And being Dr. Ruth, she just comes up, "I love what you're doing." Great friend. She was just wonderful.
That was very good.
And I was doing, I had to do a couple kids shows, and I had to do the main ballroom, and so I didn't know I had to do the main ballroom. Okay, I got it. So the main ballroom, it's like there's a 7 o'clock and a 9 o'clock, and everybody's dressed to the nines, and there's this big, a 12-piece orchestra and 12, Vegas things, and they hooray for Hollywood, a big number, opening number. And then the MC comes out and said, "Now please welcome the star of our show, Tom Chapin." And I walk out sort of like this, and I walk out and I get to the front and I go, looking around and go, "I feel underdressed." and a woman in the front row goes, "You are."
Wow.
But they love me, because I did folk songs, I sang Cats and Cradles, sang my stuff, and Happiness is Living in a Neat Mess. And Dr. Ruth was at one of the shows, and she came up. Anyway, skip forward 3 or 4 years, and I'm doing an album with Sony of my environmental songs called This Pretty Planet, of putting a collection of them. And Sony says, "Can we get some guest stars?" And so we ask various people. Judy Collins is on it. I get anyway. And in the middle of the night, Claudia in my office sends me a text. "How about Dr. Ruth for Two Kinds of Seagulls?"
Wow, that's actually a really good idea. Actually,
Two Kinds of Seagulls is about procreation. Two kinds of seagulls, seagulls and seagulls. And so we call up Pierre, who's her manager, and he says, there's silence on the phone. He goes, "She doesn't sing." And I said, "No, but she doesn't have to. She can do Rex Harrison. Just talk."
Right.
So it was absolutely great. It's on that record. We don't do the song anymore, but there's two kinds of seagulls. He goes and she goes. He goes like she goes. And that's why the seagulls. There's two kinds of wombats. Wombats and wombats. Wombats and wombats. That's why there's wombats. So it's just totally out there and great, So she loved it so much that every time in the last 15 years she was getting an award or something, she'd call up the office. Pierre called Claudia. "Can Tom come?" So I'd come, and she was getting something, and then we practiced beforehand, and she with a paper, and then I come out and I'd sit and put it on the microphone, and she was still shorter than I was standing, and we do it together, and it was hysterical. I mean, just totally hysterical, and she was just one. Anyways, so That's how I know her. So 2 years ago, I get a call. It's Dr. Ruth and Eric Oxner, who is a conductor who lives right above her and has become a great family friend. And he talked to her about doing something where she could narrate with an orchestra. So, and like Peter and the Wolf or something like that.
Sure, right.
Wouldn't it be nice if it's something about you could do, but we can't do penis and vagina, but we can do. How about grandparents? Because I've written 2 books about grand. So he said, well, with the orchestra, well, we have to write music. And said, you must call Tom Chapin. Call Tom Chapin. So they did. Right then, that was Dr. Ruth. Immediate. Boom. I got the phone call, and I'm thinking, okay, orchestra piece. I must call John Forster. Somebody can write a thing. So we've been writing this thing, and we got the first version of it, and we performed it at Eric's apartment right above hers, and she came up to it, but she had a stroke, and then she had another stroke, and then she died.
Right. Yeah.
So that was but she heard the first part of it. She really loved it. Loved the whole idea that we were doing that, and it's called by the moment it's called Grandfather Camp. And it's about, a 12, 10-year-old girl whose parents go off to a vacation and drop her with her grandpa. And she doesn't really know her grandpa because her grandma's died. And so that was the idea originally, was going to be trying to figure out how do we work Dr. Ruth into narrating this? I'm not sure. But then when she got sick, and we realized that there's no way she's going to do this. But it freed up that character who's now a magical fairy grandmother who arrives, and her magic is the orchestra. So we've written a piece called Grandfather Camp. An orchestral fantasy for families. So we'll see what happens with it. We're trying to get it done this year, but we had
sounds
really
great. Yeah,
really interesting thing. It starts off with my name. The little girl comes. My name is Naomi. My outlook is grim. He doesn't know me, and I don't know him. My mom and my dad have gone off to the sea on a 1-week vacation. They didn't take me. Grandfather Camp. I'm stuck here in Grandfather Camp. That's how it starts, and the idea is that Matrika, who is the furry grandmother, can test various grandpas with her. If you don't like this guy, okay, we'll make him into this. So there's because she had this idea of 4 or 5 different kinds of grandparenting.
Right.
The wise grandparent, the parenting grandparent, the funny grandpa, the pal, all those things. So we've got songs for each of those, and interesting.
Wow.
It's kept me busy, and as we said earlier, folks like me do not retire. We just keep doing stuff.
That's it. That's it. Wow, that sounds. I'd love to hear that, actually.
Absolutely.
All right, we got about 10 minutes left. You're good. Just sticking around about 10 minutes. 10 more minutes.
Good.
Okay.
I'm good.
I wanted to.
If there's a song you want to hear, let me know, because I can do something.
Oh, all right. Frank, you have any?
I told Tom I have about 10 songs I'd like to request.
Well, go ahead, pick one.
Well, give me a couple. What do you think?
Okay, I wrote down I Call You, Let Me Back Into Your Life, Genie, Follow the Light, Number One, Distant Drummer, Running Away, Miles and Miles, Rockin' My Baby, Saturday Morning.
Wow. So let's see. Let's do one and one makes one. This is I wrote this solo by myself. I was going to sing it at my daughter Jessica's wedding, the dinner beforehand, the night before, and then her husband to be's father gave a speech using exactly the same metaphor, and I said, I can't sing this song after this, and kind of either top him or something, so I didn't use it. 3 years later, Lily's wedding, I pulled it out and sang it, and afterwards Lily came up and said, all my friends said, it's so great, he wrote that song for you. And she said, I didn't tell him, Dad.
No.
It's great. Michael Mark was there, and he played bass and sang, and my daughter Abigail came up and sang some harmony as well. So imagine those. So fast, so far to fall after all the talk. We didn't think it all, we just fell in a rush of emotion. Now we're lost in an ocean halfway between lovers and castaways. Ain't gonna worry no more. Nothing needs to be done. Not gonna fight, not gonna run. Nothing new under the sun, except one and one makes one. I don't know how to keep them apart, how to separate head from heart. I don't know. I don't even want to. How do you hold on to yourself when you fall into someone else? I ain't gonna worry no more. Nothing that needs to be done. Not gonna fight, not gonna run. Nothing new under the sun, except one makes one. I see you as the wild wind blows through your hair. You made this song a prayer. You made me surrender. You taught me the tender and true. Now I'm losing myself in you. Ain't gonna nothing that needs to be done. Not gonna fight, not gonna run. Nothing new under the sun, except one and one makes one. One and one. They said it could not be done, but I know one and one makes one.
That was great. Really enjoyed that. Beautiful. Very nice. All right. Before we let you go, I just one thing I'd like your opinion on. We've talked on the show. I actually argue with some of the regular viewers here. Because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they put Cher in. They just put Cher in, and we're always arguing over who belongs in, who doesn't belong in. And I fight with them a little bit because Joe Cocker's not in, and a lot of these guys aren't educated well, and they think Cher belongs, before Joe Cocker, and I just think they're stupid. Now, what about Harry? I personally think he belongs in. Is that something you think about or no?
It does. It's not. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is it's kind of like what is folk music? It's so large now.
True.
Cher had a bunch of hits, and she's alive, and she's a star, and they put them in. Listen, I won 3 Grammys, and the 3 I lost 5. I was nominated for 8. The ones I lost were the ones I really should have won. I thought, because what should have won, could have won, because they were all the music ones, my family recordings. The ones I won for were all narrating children's books, and therein is the whole story. Because who votes? you know. You can vote for, I think it was eight categories. You couldn't vote for all of them. So somebody has to say, I'm not going to vote for the best album. I'm going to vote for the best narrating of children's books.
Right.
You know, who's going to do that? So who's looking at that? Now I'm in a category with Vanessa Redgrave, all actors, you know, all actors, and Papa Tom Chapin, you know.
Right.
And so the only people who are voting are people who care about kids music.
Right.
Who know who's doing it. Oh, it's Tom. That's, you know, and the first one was Mama Don't Allow, you know, Mama Don't Allow No Banjo Playing from a book. And the second one was There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed a Fly. I don't know why she swallowed. And the third was The Train They Call the City of New Orleans.
Oh.
Stevie Goodman's great song.
Yeah.
Steve Goodman was a great friend of Harry's and mine as well. And what a great song. So I'm thrilled I won them. But the fact is, in the children's thing or in the folk or anything else you're up against, you know, Bob Dylan, Linda Ronstadt, or whoever the hell it is, you know.
Right.
And so the same thing with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, there's a certain amount of Harry's not in the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And that's what he really belongs.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they only put in live people.
Is that right?
Because they want the live person to go to the thing and bring the people there to the dinner. Now, that's the worst, stupidest thing. I'm thinking, that's right. So the Baseball Hall of Fame can't have Babe Ruth in it. You know?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because he's not going to come to the dinner, right? I mean, come on. And Harry with Cass and Cradle and Taxi and the body of work. Come on.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's the one that bugs me. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you can, great. It'd be nice if he did, but it's not, you know.
Yeah.
He's not a rocker. He never was a rocker.
Well, yeah.
When he tried to write rock songs, they tend and do them. It was not in his bailiwick. He was a storyteller, folky, wonderful melody writer.
Yes.
You know, I mean, there's some songs like that people don't know, like Old College Avenue. You know, there's this incredible melody. Of course, I picked a rainy night to try and find our past. Streetlights all were flickering. The leaves were falling fast. I walked down the winding road that led up through the trees, and I saw the corner window that you once shared with me. Listen to this. It was old College Avenue in the time of having you. I remember it as if it were today. The tiny room and the single bed, tangled trails of time have led us far astray. The memory seems to stay. And through all the roads that led you home, and through all the years since you've been gone, I have found that it will never go away. It was old College Avenue in the time of having you. I remember it as if it were today. I remember you as if it were today.
Yeah.
That's a melody. That's a whole thing. You know, that's just great writing.
Yep.
But ain't rock and roll, you know.
Well, yeah. But
so
yeah.
I you know, but if Cher's in there, Harry should be in it. But you know, okay.
There you go.
There you go. Right.
I mean, so that's the excuse. If it's just Harry and rock and roll, but if it depends on what's you know, what it is.
Well, you're talking about the Grammys, and we have to go in a second, but you mentioned the Grammys. You have a great story when it comes to the Grammys that involves you and Tony Bennett. Can I trouble you to share that story? It's a great story.
So Tony Bennett did a kids record,
Right.
and he's on Sony with us, you know. So we didn't win, and guess who wins? Elmo. You know, Elmo wins the best children's record. So Tony Bennett at this point had never lost. He'd like 26 Grammy, whatever he has. But every time he was up for a Grammy, he won it, right? So we were at the Sony party afterwards, you know, and Michael and John are there, and he goes, "Here's Tony. Let's go over and talk to him." We go over, and Tony's sitting there, and John goes, "Well, hey, we're Tom Chapin. I was up for it as well, you know, and Michael, Mark, we were all," and he goes, and he looks at it, he goes, "Can you believe we lost to a fucking dummy?"
Oh, that's fantastic.
Tony.
That's great.
Oh, that's great.
It was totally true, you know. And so he was great.
All right, now, it is time for us to go. I do know, you mentioned quickly before when you were in school you played basketball, but you also played baseball, if I read right. Is that correct?
I played one season of baseball. I hit 333, 1 for 3. I was a freshman. And
that's all right.
And the guy didn't put you in. You know, the coach. You know, he had his guys. Right. But basketball, I was a player. You know.
Yeah. You're how tall are you? You're a big man.
American and stuff. So you know.
Yeah.
And I was 6'5".
Oh, okay.
Listen,
yeah.
You know how long ago that was, boys? I'm the same year, 1966, as Bill Bradley. That's how old I am.
Wow,
Dave
nice.
Bing and Bill Bradley, you know,
Yep.
who are long retired. So it's a long ago and far away kind of chemistry of existence. But my favorite thing that ever happened playing basketball was I played with Dr. J.
Oh, wow.
On a team with Dr. J in Harlem at the Rucker tournament for about 4 or 5 games. It was the second summer and I went off to England, so I didn't play the rest of the season until the final game. But and met Dr. J, who was a delight, and he was still with the Kentucky. He was still in the South playing. Wow. He hadn't cut the nets yet, right. But he was like, oh man,
Long Island's own
on the court with him.
Long Island's own, Dr. J. Yeah,
what a great guy, and a great guy.
Class act,
as well as
yeah,
absolutely.
But as a former baseball player who's in New York, what are we doing? Mets or Yankees?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm old enough, so I was a Mickey Mantle fan, you know. So
okay.
I'm not really, I got to tell you though, I root for both of them. Unless they're against each other. It's like,
right.
Because I root for the Knicks and the Nets, and I root for the Giants and the I know, and they say you can't do it. What do you mean you can't?
Yes, you can. You certainly can.
I'm rooting for all the New York teams.
Yeah.
And then when they go against each other, it's painful. You know?
Right.
And then you realize, okay, I guess I'm a Yankee fan. My dad took us to Giant games in the old Yankee Stadium.
Very nice.
Yeah, and so I'm a Giant fan, and it's been difficult, and the Jets have been difficult. And
that's for sure.
But I'm so pleased for Saquon Barkley, who got a place to play where he could at least show what he could do.
He sure did.
It's really hard as a you know, you get drafted in. Some great players got drafted in the wrong team and they never show what they can do.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
He had a chance, and God bless him. And he's a class act too. I like.
Yes, absolutely right.
I mean, I'm not a Phillies fan in any or an Eagles fan, but it was nice to see him get
it. Yes, I'm with you. Yeah, I don't like any either one of them, but I think your Yankees are going. I think they're hitting the World Series again this year.
I think I feel good about them, but there's other teams that are going too. See, it was interesting. There's an article in the Times today about they're talking about Ohtani and the Dodgers, and one of the Dodgers guys says, "Listen, you know how hard it is. It's like there's 25% chance that we'll win it again. That means a 75% chance we won't. This is the Dodgers. Everybody is assuming the Dodgers are their super team, but one injury or lots of stuff can go wrong.
Absolutely,
and it's really hard." But I'm cautiously optimistic. It was wonderful to watch the run last year.
Yes.
If
the Dodgers are healthy, though, they're tough to beat, and I think it's going to stay that way for a few years as long as everybody's healthy. Yeah.
They certainly have corralled the thing.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun to watch them. In 10 years when those guys are all 40 and they have to pay them billions of dollars.
Yeah, true. Very true.
If we're around.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So so that's that, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Chapin, the big 80th celebration this Saturday, March 8th at the Town Crier Cafe in Beacon, New York, with his band. It's going to be great. Go online for tickets, Town Crier. Town with an E, TOWNE Crier, CRIER, all one word, .com, or by phone, 845-855-1300. Tom Chapin, I have so many more questions. I could have done this all day. This was really fantastic.
Well,
I can't thank you. Well, yeah, all right. We'll do it in time for the 81.
We'll
there you
do
go.
it for my 90th.
Okay, I'll take you up on that. This was really,
Thanks,
this was great, and we really appreciate your time. I know we held you on here for a long time, but we really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Happy
Pleasure,
birthday.
guys. Thank you.
Great.
Be well.
You too. Thank you.
Take care now.
All right, Frank. So who's next week?
Next week is.
Is it Dave Soul and Diane, right?
For Dave's birthday.
Very nice. Oh, that's right. Dave's birthday. Okay. Do we know how old he's going to be?
I don't know.
He's not 80. Okay. All right. Well, that's all right. So we'll see you next week. So stick around. Gov's Comedy Club podcast. We got at 1:00. We got Sports Bash with Peter Schwartz. At 6:30, we got Recipe for Laughter with Felix and Bonnie. And at 8:00, we have Nick Greystone with Primal Fear. Gov's Comedy Club podcast, the Facebook page, the YouTube channel. And, of course, Governor's Comedy Club, just some of the names you'll see on a Governor's stage this weekend. Nick Griffin, Jeff Dye, Keegan Tyndall, Jay Lawrence, the Uncle Louie Variety Show, Alvin Kwai. Go to govs.com, check out their full schedule and see what they got going on. And, of course, Knockem Dade Comedy. We're performing 2 game shows this Saturday at the Levittown Library, which is very close to here. We're doing one at 11:30 and then another one at 1 o'clock. They're an hour long each, and they're a lot of fun. Come join us. Go to knockemdeadcomedy.com. Check out our full schedule, what we got going on, as well as information how you can hire us for your event. Frank, you got anything or no?
Nope, everything's quiet.
Okay, everything's quiet. All right, that's it. So we're getting out of here. Once again, we're about 25 minutes away from Peter Schwartz and Sports Bash, so come join us, and we'll see you. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Coffee with the Dog at 11 a.m. Tomorrow, I got me and Ruthie will be here. Me and Rosie. Sorry, I'm trying to get it all done so I can get out of here and get ready for Peter. Me and Rosie Fiumar tomorrow. Special guest, Eric Haft. If you have not seen Eric Haft, he's one of the best on Long Island. And he's going to be joining us. Very excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun.